Hey everybody, Randy Writings, Countercurrent Kayaking 101. This should be episode 2. This picks up at about the same place the last one left off. I'm up by this bridge. I'm about to go under it. I'm going to use this as the intro, but I filmed some stuff before this. And I filmed a time lapse of myself leaving my launch area and coming upriver. The time lapse that you'll watch right after this starts at the put in at Mount Shira access, and it goes up to that bridge where I ended the intro. That's a kind of low water bridge you see right behind me now, and I'm about to go into the railroad bridge up here as well. Right now I'm about to go under this little bridge. I'm going to head on up to that set of ripples. I'm going to walk through that and go on upriver this time. I didn't last time. I checked the water today with the USGS gauging station at Tiff City. That's the one I used to check this. It showed the level was about 3.5 feet. I preferred about 4.5 feet. It's about a foot lower than what I like. And the flow rate was 400. I believe that's gallons per second past a certain point of the gauging station. And I prefer that about 800. But it's not too bad. We had a little rain a couple days ago, and it was a lot lower before that. That's why I came out today. It's about 80 degrees today, but in the last 3 weeks I've seen snow twice and I've got 2 sunbirds. So, and the thing I want you most to notice is that even in slack water, you pretty much have to paddle the whole time because you got to get through the slack water, and it's all moving a little bit. So you'll see me paddling quite regularly, if not hard. Right at the end of that, you'll see me start paddling a lot harder and zigzagging back and forth. Just like if you were walking up a hill or bicycling up a hill and you wanted to make it easier, you zigzag back and forth, and that reduces the slope by lengthening the amount of distance, even though the height you go up is the same. That's how that works. And I think everybody knows how to do that, walking and biking. You do the same thing boating. You'll notice right at the end I've started going back and forth. Some of that's to reduce that slope, like I said. Some of it is to find the places of less current, cut from one side to the other side. You'll also notice when I first started, I just hung to the right-hand bank the whole time because this river does a long right-hand turn, and I'm hanging to the inside bank. The inside bank is usually where there is less current. Right now, I'm over on the left side because the left side here is the inside bank. This bank on my right, the current's, whipping through there pretty good. Where I'm at right now, there's no current. There's a little eddy back here on this on the inside, and that happens a lot. So that's what you want to go for, is get up through these dead places. I'm approaching the little ripple, and I know I'm not going to make it up there today. It's too low. I can't get a purchase. It's too shallow to get my paddle in the water to get any forward momentum up through there. So I'm going to turn this off for now, and I'm going to reverse the camera and show forward. Go back to time lapse. You'll see me approach this ripple, and then you'll see me get out and pull through it, because that's how I handle these ripples. Okay, you just saw me go up through one of the hardest chutes on this creek, except for the ripples that I walked through. One of the reasons why that one's so hard is because you have a very good half a mile leading up to it that you have to push against pretty good current. So you go into it already about half fatigued. But I did make it up through. You can tell that I made it up through because you didn't see me get in front of the boat. You might have seen I kind of hung to that left bank. So I was on the left bank and I cut over to that steep right bank because even though the current's right beside me, there's a little dead space right on the right. You see that a lot in sharp V channels. You get the main current here, but then right up in here, there's kind of little dead space. That's what I was getting into. Stayed there for a little while, and then I kind of ran out of that. Current got too hard, so I cut back over to the left and tucked in behind that island. There's kind of an island coming down, and where the water goes around it and V's together, there's a dead space where that V is, right up near the island. So I tucked over into it, got near to it until I couldn't get any farther because it was too shallow. Cut back over, and where the right-hand channel was coming down, up at the top, there's a little dead space, and I tucked into it, and then tucked back in the channel to come on up, and then stop the video. So you'll see sometimes, I said I mostly hang to the inside of a corner, but then you'll notice sometimes I don't. Well, the bad thing about the insides of some corners is that's where all the gravel deposits, and you'll get just ripples that you cannot, it's only 2 inches deep. Yes, there's an inside, but it's not navigable. So then I'll move to hopefully find some dead water on the outside. The other thing you'll notice if I go to the outside, it's usually places where there'll be like wing dams, essentially, like a log or a rock that comes out, and the current's coming down and bending around it. I'm probably going to draw some of this stuff on a board for you guys at some point so you can visualize it. But if there's a place where there's a wing dike, and actually I'm going to spin around and show you a really good one. This one's huge, so it's hard to miss. So, look at this. When I get spun around, look at this rock behind me. And you'll be looking upriver. Alright. So if you see this giant rock, that's a perfect example of a wing dam or wing dike. The current's coming down over here and coming around that rock. So where I am right now, there is no current. This is dead space, and in fact, it is flowing upriver a little bit because the water's coming down and spinning around into this and coming up. Now it'll take me upriver and eventually spit me back out, and you'll see when my rear end goes out in the water, maybe if it's going that fast, it might just be too dead. As soon as the rear end hits the current, I'll go straight out into the current. This is a good way to spin around, by the way. If you're pointing downhill, or downriver, you want to be pointing back upriver. Nose your tail out into the current. Don't try to go in and spin around with your nose into it. Put your tail into it. Let the current push your tail around, and then take back over and get straight with the current again. And so right now, I'm going up kind of through that current that's coming around the rock. And if it was stronger, I would cut off to the left, get out of that current, because now I'm going back to the inside bank where there's less current. All right, I think I'll face you guys back upriver for some time lapse for a little while until I see something else I want to show you. I am being accompanied by my ever faithful guides and followers, a bunch of turkey vultures. I seem to attract them. I do a lot of off-the-wall stuff, and I often find myself being followed by a flock of buzzards or turkey vultures. And I swear I took a shower this morning, so it's not that. I've often wondered if it's just that anytime they see some creature going against the grain, doing something a little bit different, if they track them, it's kind of just one of those, hey, we've seen idiots do this stuff before, and at the end of it, we get to feed. And it might be something, you know, that they follow the cow or the animal that's off on its own doing something different, because oftentimes that animal's about to die and they get to eat. I'm not dead yet. Come back later. I'll be dead then. So, notice like where I'm at right now, and for a good long while, I've just been consistently having to paddle. There's no real good place to get out of this current. It's not a strong current because I'm going against it, but it's a steady current and there's no real break from it. Every once in a while it gets a little bit narrower and I got to power through something, but for the most part, for about the last mile and a half, it's just steady. There's almost no getting away from it. And that's actually one of the good things about this hobby, sport, whatever you want to call it. Oh, I'm getting pushed over onto a sandbar by the current. There we go. Wasn't paying attention there, talking to the camera. So, something I didn't mention in my intro, one of the main reasons I do this is the workout. I mean, it's essentially like I'm running with my arms and occasionally sprinting. Today's I'm not moving real fast. One, you might be able to hear it. When I started, I had a tailwind, but this river goes about a mile and then does an almost immediate double back on itself, to where the rest of today I've been fighting a headwind. Not only am I fighting a current right now, I'm fighting a wind just straight in my face. Probably, maybe not 10, but more than 5 miles an hour. Just a good steady breeze, enough to push you all the time. So I'm having to fight current and that. All right, I'm about to go up through a little chute here. You'll see how I have to ramp up my paddling to do that. If you notice, there's a real almost whirlpool on your left, my right, and then the current on my left, your right. And there's a sandbar. I'm skirting along the edge of it because I can't go to the right where I'd like to be on the inside of the curve because it's just sand. There's a log over here on the left that I got to watch out for. So here pretty soon I'm going to try to angle into this current whenever I can, not let it push me towards that log. But I'm going to have to probably just kind of just scout it, this sandbar. I don't like backpedaling if I can, but I also don't want to get pushed onto that log. So what I'm trying to do now is turn into the current. Obviously, if you put your nose in the current, then you're presenting much less of a target for the current to push you. You know, your cross section diminishes. You may have noticed right there that I sometimes will lengthen a paddle on one side. If I want to really get some force, I'll slide the paddle back and forth. And right now, again, I'm getting pushed not only by current, but the wind is trying to push me over there. There's logs on my left. I'm trying to stay out of. You also may notice that when I come up to obstacles, I often come almost straight at them and then jog around them. And I have found over the years that it's better to start near an obstacle and be able to angle away from it. A lot of people get scared of obstacles. They stay really wide of them, but then the current pushes them into the obstacle. Or if you come up near the obstacle, you can angle out and away fairly easy. So that was that little bit that I went through. That wasn't too bad. Coming up to another similar thing up here. And like I said, since the water's a little low today, that diminishes your variable or your possibilities that you can take. Right now, I mean, there is only about a 6-foot wide channel that I can even maneuver through up here. And there's also a log over there. So what I'm trying to do is just scout over the top of all this stuff. There's a log just to my left. I'm trying to get the nose back upriver. But also trying to drift to the outside edge where the current will be a little bit less without running up on a sandbar. It's over here. And then I'm going to reverse that. And I'm going to try to go back to my right, cut across this current without getting pushed down it. Because dead ahead of me, on the other side, there's some dead water from just a little inlet. Okay, I'm going to stop talking now. Alright, I'm going to kill the camera. I'm in some dead water here so I can take my hands off the paddles. And I might have you watch me going through this here in a minute. Okay, I think I'm going to turn around here. I'm not sure exactly how far I've gone. I'll check the map later. I'm going to get tired, and when you get tired, you should turn around, because that's when mistakes happen. And there's a pretty rough patch ahead, and I've been in that position before where I went, I'll just make this one last push, and dumped. Anyway, I'm going to turn around. I'm going to turn the camera facing forward and go the other way. And it ought to be pretty obvious how much faster I go downriver. And I'm usually going about a mile, mile and a half an hour, maybe 2 miles an hour upriver, depending on the the waterway and how it's going, and then 3 to 5 downriver, usually something like that. So I want to do the time lapse on the way down. So you should see that next.
Hey everybody, this is Randy Writings with Countercurrent Kayaking 101. Please like, share, and subscribe, and in the comments, let me know what else you would like to see in these videos. See you on the river.